Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of the D-Tour Live. We're 18 stages down at the Tour of Spain, and a big shout out to everyone that is watching, joining us tonight, and everyone that's been subscribing to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/D-Tour podcast. We really do appreciate it. I'm your host, Dan Jones, joined as always by four-time national road champion from Australia, John Trevorrow, and the voice of cycling, Phil Liggett. Fellas, it was always going to be a monster stage last night, and it definitely delivered. I'll start with you for once, Iffy. What are your thoughts on the stage? Superman Lopez, we did predict it last night. And Sheriff said it was the lighter, punchier guys that could get the chocolates.
You predicted it. I thought Adam Yates might give him a run, but Adam actually wasn't looking as good. Yeah, but a great ride. I was really interested. It was a fantastic day, actually, but we have to start with Michael Storer. I mean, he went away from that group nearly 70 kilometres to go. He went just for a King of the Mountain sprint and kept going. And he's now taken over the lead in the KOM from his team leader, Romain. But that's going. And that was a little bit interesting. I thought Bardet might have been not too happy about it. He had a bit of a loop up the road himself later on. He might have been too happy about Michael taking the lead in that. But anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. But great ride. Only got caught like 7K to go by De La Cruz, who jumped out after him, who put up a fantastic ride himself. But then the race started. Very impressed again with Egan Bernal because what he did on stage 17, we didn't talk enough about it yesterday. That was sensational. And for him to have another go again today, but then Superman took over. Lopez was sensational. Opened up a gap, got 30-something seconds at one stage, and then in the last K, Roglic just said, "I'll show you how good you are," and reduced it right down to 14 seconds. But fantastic ride. But Roglic, he's got this race by the short and curlies, as they say right now. And we need some really bad luck for him to lose his bike race. It's done and dusted, I'm afraid. I'm not afraid. He's deserved it. He's looked the best, but he just consolidated that in the last 2 days.
What do you think, Phil?
Tell you what, well, yes, Roglic always looked like the man to win. He's planned the race from start to finish. Almost was quite happy to get rid of his jersey for a week to hiking. But he's got it for good now. Of course he has, barring an accident. And don't forget, he's very prone to falling off. But let's not wish that on him for sure. He's the best man in the race. Interestingly, though, Movistar finally get a win with a non-Spanish rider, because we're still looking for the first Spanish cyclist to win a stage of this year's Vuelta. And it's now very possible there won't be one with the stages which are left. So that's so unusual for the Tour of Spain not to get a Spanish stage winner. However, Movistar, I think, have recovered exceptionally well from the loss of Valverde so early on in this race. And that they've flying the flag, of course, with the Colombian yesterday, Lopez. And I've never seen Enrique Mas try so hard to get something out of this tour. And he's going to be on the podium when we get to the finish too. I'm sure of that. But I think the guy who's most impressed me because of sheer effort, a man we know soaked in talent, but he hasn't had the great form, and that's Bernal. He has really taken this race by his throat. He knows he's going to crack before the end, and yet he's never been afraid to attack on these big climbs to try and show you that this guy is a real bike rider. So I think he's made an awful lot of friends this year, Egan Bernal. Roglic is on his own. Forget him, he's in a class of his own right now. But Bernal is getting very, very close now to Jack Haig. And it might well come down to who goes best in the time trials, to who gets fourth place in this race.
Well, it could be third place too. Jack Haig can take 2 minutes out of Lopez in the time trial. I saw Lopez big race last year, Tour de France, I think, he lost 6 minutes in the time trial. So Jack Haig can still make the podium. He just lost that 30 seconds more than he would have liked to have lost last night. The team did a fantastic job on the front all day. They controlled the main peloton.
But he said he wanted a hard stage yesterday, Jack, because he wanted to see if he could crack anybody or how well are they going as they come away from the high mountains.
Well, he did. He cracked himself. Well, not quite. He didn't quite crack better.
He fell into the same category with some big names there in that very select group.
His teammate Mader was brilliant again. Just kept pulling him back. He was right there, Kane, a bit to go, and just lost that little bit in the last K. He lost another.
Yeah, and let's not forget that they've come from the depths of the team race to lead the classification now. They lost a little bit, but they're going to win the team race, I think. And that's
they've got that. No, impressive ride by Jack. And look, he's looking stronger as the race goes on, and he's still a possibility for that third place on the podium. I think Mass looks pretty good for second, but it's a great race for third between Lopez, Bernal, and Jack. Jack Haig and Bernal are pretty even in a time trial, so it'll be good.
You keep talking about the time trial, but stage 20, if we jump ahead, I mean, there's opportunity for some time gaps on this stage as well. Do you reckon?
Absolutely.
No, I think we've had the two monster stages, and it took all of that for them to just to get rid of Jack, just a fraction. There's no way that those guys look. It could be great for guys escaping in that, but I just don't think they'll be dropping Jack on these climbs. This is a really serious stage. I mean, you got all those climbs: third, Cat 2, Cat 1, finish on a Cat 2. It's some serious stuff, but I just don't think they'll get rid of. I don't think these guys have been so close on these big mountains. I don't think these ones will separate them.
Well, I put the podcast fishing rod out there, try to get a nibble from the sheriff, and he said he's on the bus at the moment. He's trying to get on, but the internet's no good. So we'll see. We may get the sheriff at some point to get some insights, but you look at the time gap. I mean, Lopez is 2:53 behind Roglic. Jack's, he's got minute 45 or thereabouts to make up to get onto that podium. But Bernal's the one, if he, as Phil mentioned, he's only 8 seconds behind Jack. I mean, what's going to happen if it does sort of even out and come down to the time trial?
Well, they're very close, but I don't think Jack cares if he gets fourth or fifth. He wants third, and to get third, he's got to catch Lopez. So that's the one who really got to catch. The two of them will be.
No, but that's my point. Like, wipe Lopez out, he blows 4 minutes out on the time trial. But if you've still got Bernal breathing down,
you've got a great race.
It'll be the difference between third and fourth.
Yeah, but it's a great. But as I said before that, there's nothing between them in the time trial. They're about even, so it's going to be a great race.
Okay, fair enough.
Time trial next over the weekend, I guess. Should be good fun.
With Stora, do you think there's something in when you're leaving the team as well, in terms of taking the King of the Mountains jersey? Because I don't think so. No, but what I mean is, if Bernal, if his teammate Bardet had it, and there was a bit of like, hey, that's the plan, leave it for him. I think the fact that if you're leaving team as well, you just go, well, part of it is bugger if I got the legs. Hang on, here's the sheriff. Can you hear us, Neil?
Come turn the lights on. He's working on it.
Hey!
Stevo, how are you?
I'm bloody good, mate. I made an extra effort to get on because I knew you were on the program today.
There you're the boy. I was first reserve in case you didn't make it, but there we are. You've made it. I can go now.
No, you're a bloody beauty. Remember that time we went horse riding?
Oh, I'll tell you.
In the hills there, and one of Iffy's.
That's the first time an Aussie horse has ever learned to speak Spanish, I'll tell you.
What's that story, Phil?
Well, unfortunately, I suppose now, but we were celebrating his victory in the National Road Race Championship, and he brought his big team over, Once, and some of the best. I remember Diaz de Bala was one of the boys, and he was a great character. I made good friends with him at the time. And Steve-O treated us all to a bush pony ride, I guess you might call it. But all the guys speak Spanish and the horse speaks Australian. And the big horse showed the shit out the horse to make it go down these silly dips and climb out the other side. Nobody ever ridden a horse before. It was hilarious. And I think the horses enjoyed it more than we did.
Yeah. Well, we lost Neil, but we did get a good horse story in, so that's important.
It was a fabulous. Neil was on a big.
It was amazing. It was amazing. Yeah, we had the Onse team out here riding in the Bay Crits and the Mount Bullock Cup and all those races. And an Australian road title that I put on started in Botanic Gardens, finished, went out over Westgate Bridge, all out the hills at the back of Lara, and then came back over the Westgate Bridge and finished with 3 laps around the Botanic Gardens. Fantastic race.
It was. And I hate those hills out at Lara too, I'll tell you. Not always in the race, right?
Yeah.
We're riding out that way. Horrible climb. Never seemed to end.
That's great. Robbie McEwen won it. He beat, so he was amateur, so he didn't get the title. So Steve-O won the title, but Robbie won the race in a great ride. It was fantastic.
Yeah. Those rules, James.
They were great.
So obviously, just going through the next 3 stages.
Just to finish what we were talking before.
Okay.
The Storer was doing. They were in the break, and Bardet wasn't in the break. So he and his teammate were making sure they just took the points away from the little Polish stadium from the other day. Yeah, and Micah. Yeah, so they were just beating him for them, and he went
Keep it within the team. Is better
and he
than
went,
losing it all.
and then in the end he went away and took it up and has got the lead. So he probably let.
I don't think there'll be a problem. There'll be no problem with that.
No, not at all.
He's been a king of the mountains in the Tour de France, as indeed has Micah twice.
I think you got your finger over the microphone a bit there, Phil.
Sorry, what's happened?
Your finger sometimes touches a microphone. Just be wary with quality control. Hang on, the sheriff's back.
I don't know what the microphone is on this thing. Yeah, I'll keep my hands away.
Can you hear us, Neil?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm back. I believe that Phil told you the story about the horses, and that the only thing better than that that ride on the horses was the bottle of wine we shared later on.
Oh gosh, well, my legs were still knocking from holding on to the horse, so I've forgotten the wine. Yeah.
Neil, were you happy with the stage yesterday, Neil?
Yeah, not too bad. We actually got in a bit of strife at the start. A big bunch went up the road. We looked like we were going to lose teams classification. We had things out a bit of went a bit crazy, but I'm lucky to say that the Bahrain Victoria's boys worked better than the internet on here and the bus. So that was good. We ended up being not a bad day.
They were fantastic, actually. I was really impressed. What's that little guy who was on the front nearly all day? He got spat on the climb, came back again and did it all again. He was fantastic.
Yeah. No, we had a couple of boys that were good on the flats. We had to try to babe him a little bit over the climbs, but the main thing was we tried to deliver Jack into the final climb. It was a pretty brutal sort of a climb to the finish. He did his best. Actually, young Gino, his sidekick, did a good job as well, and he's given all his best. He's still there in 4th place, and looking forward to the last couple of stages and get into the last time trial as well.
Does he still feel, Neil, that he's got a shot at the podium, Jack?
It's going to be difficult. The young Lopez, he went on the attack there at the finish, took a bit more of a chunk of a time out of Jack. So podium's going to be difficult, but we'll give it a bit of a shot anyway. We'll have a go.
You never know what Lopez is going to do. I mean, he has done some shocker time trials before, so hopefully he can do another one.
Not the Aussies are buying.
Yeah, that's right. But
Will Wizard says don't underestimate Lopez.
It's
got
also
a lot better form.
Yeah, the thing is, we don't forget we've got the former Tour de France winner Bernal breathing down our neck as well. So it's not only Lopez is the problem. We've got Bernal there as well. So anyway, we'll see how we go.
Yeah.
Well, regardless of the final positions on GC, there's so many benefits and positives to take out from the progression of Jack Haig as a GC rider, Neil.
Yeah. You've got to be realistic. You got to think that Jack hasn't. He's because of COVID last year with the Giro. because of a couple of other circumstances, it's his first major tour in that he can get to finish in a couple of years. It's the first one he's actually had a bit of a go for himself, not been working for other people. And so up being in the top 5 is at the moment really positive, and it's really positive to look towards the future as well.
Do you have any sort of flashbacks to? I still remember. I think it was the 2015 Vuelta. Obviously, Esteban won a couple of stages that year and had the jersey, but it was such a euphoric feeling when he finished 5th on GC that year, because you knew the momentum that was to come and you knew the future of Esteban. Do you get similar feelings with Jack?
Yeah, spot on. There's a couple of things that take me back to the Green Edge days and the philosophies that we put in place, and they and you know that stage, the first time he ran 5th, we knew that there was bigger things to come. He went on from there. The fact that a couple of years later we ran 3rd with Esteban and 6th with Simon Yates, that was working on the character of the team and developing riders, and that's the sort of same thing I see with. Not only with Jack here, but with also Gino on the side as well. Gino is working really hard for Jack, but we know that in the future he's going to be a leader in his own right.
Iffy?
I was impressed with Intermarché yesterday, Steve-O. You know, they've really stepped up. They were working hard on the front for the young, Menchie's the young South African. But they've stepped up in this bike race, haven't they?
Bloody oath. They've done a really good job. They've ticked off. They've got marked out a few different areas they wanted to shine in. They've taken the lead. They've defended it as much as they could, and then they went back and got the lead again with somebody else. And so with Menches, I don't know, he's around the top 10, that sort of area. They've got in yesterday. Good on them. Yeah, they're good on them. They defended that top 10. They gave it a bit of a go, and so I reckon they're good value for money. That
Yeah, I just looked at his 10th. He moved up to 10. Yeah. Sorry, bud.
No, I'm saying they've also won a stage in the Benelux Tour now with Taco van der Horn. So they're having a really super end to the season after the ripping off they got for the way they rode the Tour de France. I think they've give their answer. Good for them.
Yeah, good on them.
What's the plan of attack for today's stage, Neil? There's obviously a couple of little climbs at the start there, and then it's sort of undulating, rolling into the finish.
Yeah. I reckon if you were driving a car, you'd call those climbs at the start little. If you have to drag your ass up on a bike, they're actually pretty major.
You know it ain't right, Neil.
Yeah, I reckon. I reckon it's going to be a pretty hard start. As obviously it's got breakaway written all over it, but then you've got like a team like the De Koenig team would try to get through those early kilometres, limit their losses, and try to bring back the break later on. But at the moment, the breakaways, if they can include someone like a Bling Matthews, Trentin, Magnus in there as well, they're the sort of riders that can really shine today. And hopefully for us, we'll have a bit of a day off and then come back in for the weekend of a bit of action again later on.
Jeez, I felt Iffy's ears pricked then when you said Bling.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, no, it's a Bling stage. It's a Bling stage. Yep. Yeah.
It's a Bling stage. You get into the break finally, and then find a way through to the finish line first.
Yeah.
Because, not without trying.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of stages that Bling can win, but maybe the way he's got to go about it is go boots and all. Go out there, throw it out. Don't be worried about getting in for a sprint finish. Throw it out. Then if Trentin attacks, go and attack with him and just have a go.
Yeah, I agree. For sure. Yeah, for sure. Fantastic.
All right, Sheriff. Well, we really appreciate you dialing in again for the detour, mate. We'll keep pestering you with no notice, and I'll podcast fish. And if you have a bite, you have a bite. We'll have a chat.
Okay. Good on you, fellas, and good to see you again, Phil. Buddy, always a pleasure.
You too, Neil. All the very best, mate, for the rest of the few days.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Neil Stevens, Director Sportif of Bahrain Victorious. We're going to have a quick drinks break. When we come back, we're going to chat with Vaughn McVilly. He's got exciting news, John, because he has the top 3 jerseys that have been finalised for the kit competition. And we're also got an update for the loudest silent auction in history after this break.
Look at this bike. You think it's just a bike, right? But it's not. It's a bike 374 people are looking at. This guy, this girl, them, all looking at it. People from here, there, and wherever this is. People that are looking for a bike. Or just a piece of it. Amateurs, semi-amateurs, and pro-amateurs. This guy wants this bike, but with this crank and these bars. This could be the perfect match. But not this one. This girl has a bike to sell, and thousands of people might purchase it. Eyes on Bikes help grow small businesses. His, hers, yours, and the latest data and insights help those businesses keep moving. We are the world's #1 bike marketplace, with over 500,000 products and 900 brands, where buyers and sellers are brought together in a place where a bike is never just a bike. Bike Exchange, where the world buys, sells, learns, and rides.
Life is like a two-way street. It's about consideration and mutual respect. Roads are much the same. However you get around, walk, ride or drive, if we share our roads, we can all be safer. The Amy Gillett Foundation is Australia's peak cycling safety charity. Our mission is for safe cycling in Australia. Our vision is for 0 cyclist deaths. Over the last year, we've seen an enormous increase in people taking up cycling, whether it be for recreation, with the family, commuting, or even to start your own cycling career. We need to do more to make it safer for every cyclist. 20 cyclists every day are hospitalised, and 1 cyclist is killed every 10 days on Australian roads. So, the next time you jump on your bike or hop in your car, remember to practice the 4 C's. Be courteous, calm, considerate, and conscientious. Every cyclist death is preventable, and we all deserve to get home safely. Please donate to help the Amy Gillett Foundation make the roads safer for you and for me.
Thanks again to Bike Exchange and the Amy Gillett Foundation. As we said, we're joined by a board member of the Mental Wheels Foundation, Vaughn McVilly. Vaughn, welcome back to the Detour, mate. I'll start by talking about the Vuelta, of course. What were your thoughts of last night's epic stage?
Unbelievable stage. Stora was just, is there anything that kid can't do? It was amazing. A little bit on that whole thing about what you were talking about before about the mountains jersey, Dan. I actually think that who else? So someone else in the break with him that could have probably got quite a few points and probably would have taken it off Bahrain anyway. So I think it was the right move, even from a team perspective, for him to go for the points. But geez, he's a talent, man. He's an exciting rider to watch. And then Superman Lopez, like that was just. I keep saying this. I've been saying it for the entire Vuelta this year. That was one of the best stages I've ever watched. Like it was so good because it was such a big break when it was like, I think they had 4 minutes fairly early on with about 32 riders, and you had, Nibali and, some big names in there as well that were just driving it. It was it was fantastic.
Do you think it's going to be the norm putting these monster epic climbs, the stage 18? Because as Vaughn said, it's one of the best stages to watch. So purely from an entertainment perspective, the nastier the better.
Look, 2 in a row, 17 and 18 were the 2 highlights. And 17 to me just blew me away because you had one Bernal, nearly 70k to go, goes up the road with Roglic, and the 2 of them just, rode away. And then we had the exact opposite, but with 18, both monster stages, both with, monster finishes, those 2 climbs, the Gomontilu, the new one, and of course the Covadonga, which has been around for a while. Amazing finishes. The 2 iconic stages. It's hard to say which one really was the Queen stage. I suppose it was stage 18, but just a great 2 days. Hard to beat.
Now, Vaughn, obviously we've got a big announcement. We've been plugging it for the entirety of the Tour of Spain, and that's obviously brought to you by ApexCustomAUS.com, the custom kit, and it's a detour competition where we've asked people to design some kit. And, Vaughn, you've got the final 3. So the Amy Gillett Foundation picked it. We're down to 3.
Yep.
What's happening now, mate?
We have indeed. So we have got the final 3, and now it's over to the fans to choose their 3 favourite jerseys. So have you got those jerseys there, Dan?
Yes, I do. Let's look at finalist number 1. What are your thoughts?
That's Iffy's favourite. And so what we have done with this jersey also is, just so everybody knows, is that back pocket where it's black and then the yellow apex, we've flipped it. So the back pocket's now going to be bright yellow. But yeah, that's the Iffy favourite for sure.
And then this is finalist number 2.
Bit of splash of colour and craziness. I like what you called it the other night, Dan. A little bit of camo. Fluoro camo, yep. So super duper bright again. Cracking looking kit.
And number 3, this is a new entry, and it's a
She's
crab.
a curveball, isn't she?
Stop, please.
Stop, please. So this has been... So this has been actually been sent in by a 10-year-old, one of Katie Brown's children. And it was, so we didn't tell anyone whose jersey was what, and it went to the board of the Amy Gillett Foundation, and this was the one. So fantastic, very bright, great colours, and it was all done in crayon and textures and sent it into our design team, and the design team came out with that one. So there's 3 very different, very exciting designs, and now it's over to the fans to vote, and you can vote on the Detour Facebook page. Jump on there and tell us which one is your favourite, and the winner is going to get a free kit and get to ride in the team with Iffy and all of the other legends and Dan.
Oh, well, I don't know if that's a highlight.
Well, whichever one you choose. I thought the third one was a self-portrait of Iffy, actually, but
This one.
Yeah, all of them are really colourful, and they're going to stand out, which is the first object of the whole thing. I find it very difficult to name on there. I quite like the one with I guess it's a crab on the front, but
I'll try and dig up. I had someone send me a funny one on through Facebook, and I thought I sent it on to you, Dan. I don't know whether I did, but it had all the
you did
silly sayings that we've used over. I thought it was very clever. I had,
that's good.
Vinegar and all the different things in there.
I'll have to get it. You give me 2 seconds, I'll dig it up. You guys are
it's very clever.
So
clever. But I like those. Now, what I'll do, I will talk, because now Sunday the 24th of October, Phil, I know you won't be able to come and join us. You know you'd love to. But that's the Amy's Grand Fondo. So there's a 130 kilometre age group ride, which is like a race, because that's for qualifying for that. Then there's a 130k recreation ride, which is some of our mob are going to do. There's also a 45 kilometre gravel Grand Fondo, which will be fantastic if we've got a gravel bike. There's a 45 kilometre Medio, which starts in Apollo Bay, and virtually it's just Apollo Bay down the Great Ocean Road to Lorne. What a beautiful ride. And then there's a 14 kilometre family ride. So whatever you want to do. So if you want to be part of the Detour Degenerates group, or whatever they call it.
What an honour.
What an honour. So we're all going to get together for breakfast. We're going to have breakfast in Lorne together, and you pick whatever ride you do, but you've still got to enter. So you've got to get onto Amy's website and enter for the ride, and then you will
go to amygillett.org.au and you'll be able to find the directions to get to the...
and then if you want to buy some kit, then we put the orders in through Vaughan, and all of those funds, which is an amazing donation, thank you very much, Vaughan, will go to the Amy Gillett Foundation, so which is absolutely wonderful.
That's
so we'll all be... There it is.
Who would not want to walk around the street wearing that?
Send that to me, Dan. I'm getting that made 100%. It's going to be a t-shirt range for after the ride, that we can all maybe have a trophy and wear our t-shirts.
That was Winnie Superfan, Free Ranger, and the Wheel Wizard, and the Wombat.
That's good.
They all get attention.
And Vinegar got in as well. Yeah.
You almost got the detour almost was over before it began when you started going down the vinegar chute. But anyway, we got through that. Now, obviously, we're trying to raise money for the Koreka Foundation. And if you want to be part of Phil's peloton, We say it every episode, Kareka, KARIEGA.co.za/Peloton. And I want to quickly run that promo that you've given us, Phil, to join his Peloton.
Hi everyone, it's Phil Liggett here, and it's time to get my African safari on the road again. We're heading back to the Kareka Game Reserve in the Eastern Cape of South Africa, where animals, including the rhino, roam freely. We did 4 great rides in June, and now, with 2 new ones, we're set to go again. There will be eminent guests to answer your questions on the wildlife and also offer an opportunity to win amazing trips to Kareka. We'll chat to one another, and you don't even have to ride, thanks to Fulgaz, who will set you up to watch on Zoom when you enroll and make a donation. We have 4 rides, 1 per month, starting on September 19. They last an hour, and if you have a smart trainer, you can pedal your way through the reserve, or you can just sit back with a cup of tea. In either case, knowing that your participation is helping keep the animals safe and free to roam. Come and join me, and all the information you need to have is at kareka.co.za/Peloton, and let's go.
Great stuff, Phil. Get involved. I'll better go to some of the fan comments. Yeah. Samantha in says, can anyone explain how times work when they cross the line? E.g., 5 riders finish with the same time when they cross, even though they don't cross the line at the same time. Now, Phil, you'd be a good one to answer this.
The arguments we've had over the years, I can tell you, the finish line judges, basically, when they're checking the photo finish, if there's no recognizable gap, and it's usually around 2 to 3 meters between the riders, then they all get the same time. So the big danger, of course, is that if a leader's coming in a bunch sprint and just eases off the back because the sprinters go forward for the sprint, there could be a timed gap, and he could find himself losing quite a lot of time. But basically, it's to stop riders trying to commit suicide, trying to get to the front to stay in at the same time. So no, it's usually they use the sight line of the barriers in the old days. So if they could see 2 barrier lengths between the riders, they would give the group the second time behind. So it's a common sense thing, but it's been argued for years. Basically, there's got to be no extreme daylight between the riders, back wheel and the front wheel of the guideline.
Yep. Ryan Kavanagh says, according to PCS Pro Cycling Stats, Landa doesn't have a contract for next year. Have negotiated started yet. Obviously, this was a question when Steve was on. Gito Mater put in a very good individual time trial and Tour of Swiss 2 quality rider. What do you think? If it sounds like wasn't overall positive vibes from his effort yesterday when he pulled out, so it might be hard for negotiation times, I would think.
Landa is a huge superstar in Spain. So forgetting that side, if Steve-O was picking the team, I don't reckon he'd have a contract next year. But it's not Steve-O. The owner of the team, Bahrain Victorious, strong Spanish connection. I think he'll... Look, the plenty of teams will take Miguel Landa. He's a big name. And a lot of these guys, that's how they are. I know we're all a bit shirty on him because, you pull out, he could have been helping Jack. I don't know what he would have done for Jack anyway. But that's the way some of those guys are, But, no, it's just that his contract is up for renewal, and I'm sure his manager is in talks with plenty of teams. He won't be going back to Movistar, though. I don't think they have him back because he didn't leave there on the best of circumstances. But, yeah, no, he'll jump in somewhere. He's a big star.
Hey, Vaughn, do you find a common thread in sport when there's certain athletes that falling out from a team, go to a new team, falling out with a team, go to a new team? At some point, if I was running the show, I'd go, I'm detecting a pattern here. Not sure if we want to take on this risk. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. But I think, when you get up, like let's talk sprinters, like when you get up and if you're always winning, you put up with the shit. Then suddenly when they're not winning, sprinters have to have that ego and have to be quite aggressive and have to have that, everyone's riding for me sort of attitude because I want to get to the finish line and I want to win. And we've seen a lot of that over the years when, guys haven't been able to win on a regular basis and then suddenly they leave the team in a bit of a dummy spit and you see a little bit of that then all of a sudden roll on. there's other guys too that are just seem to be just skipping through teams and are getting quite good results. And I think are always quite a huge positive to a team. I mean, Rowan Dennis is changing teams again, but he's going to a pretty good bloody team. So, like I think it's really hard to work out whether it's a cultural thing and whether there's a team fit. I mean, Dan, you were saying back in the day when you were at Green Edge, like just how good the culture was, right? And so everyone was riding for everyone, and I think that can, there's a real sort of, I guess, management issue there as well that needs to be managed really, really careful, because at the end of the day, when you're an elite athlete, you've got an ego, and you've got to let that ego go, and you've got to be able to go out there and take the challenges on, and to do that, you have to lift your confidence, and sometimes you end up being a bit of a prick. Just ask Cavendish.
What do you reckon, Iffy?
Phil? Look, I agree. I agree completely. Yeah.
Don't forget that Lambert has had a poor season this year by his own standards, but the guy broke his wrist on stage 5 of the Giro, I think it was, and his collarbone. And maybe he tried to race back to the form, and he couldn't get back. He tried too hard to recover too quickly, and that's why he suddenly gave it the ghost yesterday. There might be another story there. I don't know. But he's good value for money because he's always in the news, even if he's not riding well. Yours will do nothing but talk about him, even when he's retired from the race yesterday. But they just seem to have fallen in love with him. But he has finished 4th in the Giro, and he's finished 4th in the Tour de France. He's clearly a man of great class, and this year he won the Tour de Burgos as well.
He looked good. His form seemed to be coming back, but don't excuse him. I mean, seriously, he obviously wasn't going that bad. He rode from the back group, right through to the front without any problem. Then they caught him again, and suddenly he realised, I'm not going to win today. He pulled the coat. His form wasn't that bad. Yeah. He could have stayed around to help Jack.
Yes, that's bad form. I agree.
He's like that parakeet off Dumb and Dumber. His head fell off.
Yeah.
But
he's
just saying, Vaughan, agreeing exactly with what you're saying. But the world is changing. The world of cycling is changing drastically. So these big names aren't as valuable as they used to be. As they're getting towards the end of their career, they don't look like they're going to win a Grand Tour again. Give them the flick, because these young kids coming up, they're the superstars and it's changing so quickly. They don't have to do 2 and 3 year apprenticeships anymore. No. 6 months. Yeah. 6 months, they're in there.
Yeah. Well, what was the signing recently that Keenan was saying on the coverage that Quickstep have picked up the rower because of his data? And I think he got a silver medal at the Olympics, and his data, he's breaking Strava records or whatever, and they've given him a contract. There's another example of looking at the data and going, hang on. Here we go.
Yeah.
So,
like young Jay Vine, like exactly what happened with the man from Cairns who's just retired. Oh, come on. Help me out. I mean, dementia's jumping in again. Now, mate.
Yeah, but dementia, it's contagious.
Lotto. Australian. Record number of Grand Tours in a row.
Oh, Adam Hansen.
Adam Hansen.
That
wasn't a hard one.
I've got dementia. I'm just saying.
You spoke to him for 2 hours on the show a couple of months ago.
I know, great guy. But sometimes, I'm 72, mate.
Detour Dementia, the new name for the team.
Yes, Detour Dementia.
Phil wants to say something.
No, I'm just saying that's exactly how he come into the sport. He just used to go training with a German doctor who was out here, part of the team, kept in touch. His data, he was sending across, and they said, gee, this guy's pretty good. And that's how he got his European break.
And he didn't get paid very well because he had to make his own shoes. But there you are. On the other hand, what about this new 20-year-old just been signed by Ineos? So
it looks good.
This kid, when it was Team Sky, was 11 or 12 years of age, and he saw them on television, and he just said to himself, I want to join that team one day as a cyclist. And he's got the contract, 20 years of age. They've seen a lot of ability in this young lad. Watch out until it might be the next Remco.
It looks good. It reminded me of I saw a photo or might have been on the news yesterday with Ronaldo back at Manchester United, and had a photo of him at Manchester United back, however long ago it was. And this young kid in the photo is now his teammate.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
It's
They're great stories.
Yeah.
You're right.
Now,
cycling is changing, John. Cycling is changing.
We've got a question for you, Iffy. Ryan Kavanagh says, when does this silent auction end? Obviously,
we don't know. It's silent.
Yeah, that's right.
It ends on Sunday.
Sunday.
Final day.
You got your script?
I've got the script.
We're going to do it again.
We've had a new offer. We'll sell in a minute. But anyway.
Go for it.
Discover a tropical playground of powdered sugar sand, lush jungle, and crystalline waters. The Miller Maldives luxury resort reeks of timeless style and endless bliss. Stand by for unexpected treats and indulgences. A Miller Maldives luxury resort is just the place to be. Delighting and surprising you is their hallmark.
Someone said you need to update the script and take out the word reeks because it's so polished, and then you go, it reeks of
Well, that was it. That was on their website, mate. That was on their. I took it off their website.
I'll do that then.
Okay.
Well, tell us the opposite.
It's a Miller's fault then.
I'll change it. I'll change it to
smells.
Miller Maldives. Yep, smells of timeless style.
That's it. Smells.
Permeates.
Permeates. Yeah. So I think you might need to just sub out the reeks. Go to miller.com. And it's 5 nights on a waterfront villa for 2 adults, 2 children, breakfast, dinner, and Jason and the team will look after you. That is guaranteed. And if you want to put in a bid, you send an email, john@cyclingevents.com.au. This finishes on Sunday. It's worth 13,500 Aussie dollars. It's to raise money. All the money will go to Kareka because of the generosity of Jason and the team at Miller. And drum roll, John. Where are we at with the bid?
I'm going to show you.
5,250. Where are we at?
Because it's a silent auction.
Little bit left. That's perfect.
So people listening to this,
$86,000.
$6,000.
Oh, 6,000 was a dollar sign. I thought it was an 8. Sorry.
Yeah.
6,000 Aussie dollars, which is fantastic.
To everybody listening and watching, Lindy, who is the foundation CEO of Kareka, they are desperate now. There's no visitors and hasn't been for almost 2 years. The big plot of land next to her where the lions roam freely, well, they do now because there's nobody there to feed them because that whole setup has gone bankrupt. And we don't want that to happen to Kareka. In fact, they rang up and asked Kareka, would they buy the whole zone? And Lindy, of course, fell about saying, we can't afford to keep our own just now. And so pictures like we see Tandy here looking after her latest calf, which has grown up a bit now. She was saved from, she was poached, she lost her horn, she was found in a pool of blood, and the vet, who I'll be speaking to, by the way, on my African safari on the 19th of September, Will Foles, brought her back to life. She's had 3 young ones since then. So, thanks for everything you're doing. It is well, and I think I told you the other day, my actual taxi driver that brought me home from my recent triathlon visit to Slovakia, I donated half his fee, which I personally sent to Lindy on his behalf.
That's lovely.
That's awesome.
It's absolutely
amazing.
There's so many good people.
Yeah, fantastic. Fellas, I also want to send a shout out to Alistair Donohoe, who he's already won 4 Paralympic medals.
Oh, yeah.
And it was one of the best post interviews I've seen. He competed in the road race, the men's C5 today, and he finished 5th, but he crashed twice. And when he was interviewed after the stage, he was so emotional because he said that he lost his best mate, William, 2 months ago from suicide. And he said he'd been bottling it up just to compete. And then he just let it all out like post-race. If you want to check it out, go to Channel 7 on Twitter. I think they posted the video and Cycling Central reposted as well. But some of the interviews that we've been seeing at the Paralympics have just been fantastic. And I just want to send a shout out to the entire team. It's been fantastic to watch and super proud. It was great to see. So, yeah. Unreal.
Did you see that the Aussie guy coming to the finish his time trial, and there was a girl going out for her second lap, and he rode along, and he looked at the time and he knew he was out of the medals. So I think he came fifth still. And so rather than go all the way through the line, he rode next to this girl who was from South Africa actually, and he cheered her on and gave her all this motivation as they went across the line together. He was finishing and she still had another lap to go. It was like I had tears rolling down my face. It's just incredible. It's been so good.
It's the amazing thing about the Paralympics. I mean, not absolutely take anything away from their ability as sports people, because they are, the top of their sphere. But there's that extra bit of camaraderie and togetherness that you don't get in the normal Olympics. It's a bit more cutthroat. But in the Paras, it is absolutely amazing. Some beautiful stories that come out for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
I commentated on the Paralympics in 2012 in London, and it's the highlight of my career. I've done 16 Olympic Games, and I take the Paras every time. It was wonderful. One great story I'll tell you very quickly was there was this. It was a lumberjack from the far north of North America. It was American South in the map, and he qualified in the team pursuit, in the individual pursuit, which for them was over 2,000 meters. He came to the start, and he had no arm from the shoulder downwards on the left side of his body. And remember, he's racing around the track in a left direction. You know what it's like to ride just on the track with one hand on the handlebars, no left side to your body, and he won the title in incredible speed. And he lost his arm because he was a lumberjack and the chainsaw did the damage. But what an athlete he was. And, these guys are special. We get sort of embarrassed when we joke about we're scared of what we say about these people. But when these people get together and take their legs off in the changing rooms to stand up drinking bottles into the empty cup of the prosthetic leg, they're all laughing about their situation. They're all in the same mood together. They're incredible people. And I've got 100% time for them because they're all extremely good people as well. And Dame Sarah Story, of course, she's just won the most number of gold medals ever in the history of Paralympics, which is she's now got 17 gold medals.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, fellas, predictions for stage number 19. Johnny, I reckon I can predict with pretty good surety who you're going to tip here.
Blink.
Of course you are. That's not a bad pick, I must say. But we said that every time you said it. Yeah.
I know. It's almost like the Bling's curse. If he's like the Bling's voodoo doll. Every time he tips him. What do you think, Vaughn?
So tonight's stage, there's two really hard, I think they're right-handers within the last kilometre. But I think, and don't quote me, but I think it's only about 250 metres to go with the last hard right-hander. So the position is going to be really, really critical. And I want to say Bling because I love him. But the position in there is going to be really, really hard to beat Quick Step because they're just so good.
And I confess that this has got a breakaway written all over it.
For sure. Yeah. I agree.
Roglic will play his old game now. He just watch the men that matter. Anybody else can have a day trip out of the road. So I think it could be a big group at the front. If it came down to a bunch sprint, then obviously Phillips and Jakobsen will win. Nobody near.
Fabio, yeah, fabulous Fabio. If it look, bunch sprint, of course, but I think it'll be a break. A break will go today for sure.
I think so, and it'd be one. If I was Bling, I'd be looking for, because I think from a break he will pull it off.
Yeah.
But you could pull out so many different names, and don't let's forget there's still no Spanish stage winner of an event they used to stitch up amongst themselves. They haven't even been saved.
Before we wrap things up, geez, people want the T-shirt. Iffy. Today, where can I buy the T-shirt?
Okay.
When you
Maybe 24 hours.
Yep. Samantha says, I had no idea Nibley has a brother in the Pro Peloton riding in the Tour, Antonio.
Yeah.
There you go.
Antonio, there you go.
Indeed.
Now, I just wanted to mention, because also last night started the Surazit Challenge by Vuelta, which is the women's Vuelta. There she is. Marlene Russa, the Swiss who got the silver medal in the Olympic time trial. She cleared out on her own and won by 22 seconds. It was a great ride to a large group. And Corin Rivera, the USA, won the sprint in from Alice Shabby. And all of the favourites were in that large group. Lisa Brenner is a defending champion, although she reckons this one's a bit hard. I think she's won the last two. So tonight we've got stage 2 is a 7.3 kilometre individual time trial uphill. So I reckon Annemiek will be pretty hard to beat in that one.
Yeah, but don't forget Annemiek's a minute 48 back because there was a 4-man breakaway.
Yeah, I know, but they're a minute 48 back. But yeah,
we'll see what Russa goes like in the uphill time trial. Pretty well.
I'm talking about. I think she'd win the time trial. I didn't say she'd win the bike race, mate. I think.
Very good point. Yes, I'll agree with that, John. Yeah, that's exactly what.
Back in your place, Phil.
At stage 3, stage 3 is 107 kilometre with a Cat 3 and a Cat 2, and then the finale on Sunday is 107 kilometre flat stage. So you're right, which I missed. Phil, so you picked up that Corin Rivera won the sprint in of only 3 riders, and then the bunch was at 148. So I did slip up there. So for the overall,
I thought you were doing very well, and I think you're right. At the end of the race, probably Annemiek van Vleuten will be the winner. Actually, of course, but you know, this Russa a surprise girl. She pops out the woodwork just at big race times. She got a medal in the Worlds last year, and now she got a medal in the Olympics, and now she's leading this race. So she could be the surprise of the day. She had to get away from Colin Riviera, otherwise she'd have lost in the sprint for sure. Riviera must have been kicking herself when she got away and beat her by 22 seconds. The only way to have won the stage.
It's going to be interesting.
Interesting story. The American girl, Corin Rivera, she's lucky to be racing because she almost got blown up by Dan a few years ago. She survived that.
Well, we did the ACDC video. We needed some extras. I'm not a pyrotechnics expert. It got wedged into a park bench and it exploded. I almost killed 6 souls. And she survived. So I think they gave her a different perspective. And now look at her results. She thought, every day's a bonus. I'm going to enjoy it. So I take full credit for all her results since 2013. What are you going to say, Vaughn?
I just say, like, the women's racing is just so great to watch. You know, just the fact that happened last night in that race, the breakaway to get away, the Olympic road race, you know, the stuff that's happened. They just race so hard from the get-go. And I think you guys showed the crash earlier on. Was that last week? That in Holland, racing, in Holland, like that. But the racing was on like Donkey Kong as soon as the flag gets waved. I just love watching it. Like, I'm just massive fan right now of watching the girls racing because they just, it's just get amongst it. We need to see more of it on the telly.
Well, if he'll be doing his updates every night for the women's tour of Vuelta, what's it called again, John?
It's called the Selazit Challenge by Vuelta.
Okay. Jason Cruz says, my fault. I think he's talking about the script. Reeks.
Actually, Jason, I'm going to say, mate, it's not your fault because you sent me a proper script and I've never used it. I used my own that I made up. So maybe tomorrow night I'll read Jason's.
Although blaming a Miller the whole time, and now it turns out that you lied, John.
No, I didn't lie.
He sent you one, and you're like, "No, I'm not going to use that."
All of those bits I got off their website. So the Reeks was put in there. So it might be Jason. He probably wrote that in the original.
Okay.
This whole time trial helmet. That's not fast. I'm going to wear my old bar helmet.
All right. Well, it's been a great episode. Thanks, Phil. Thanks, Vaughn. Thanks to the sheriff. I won't be on tomorrow night. Got the kids this weekend. No. So Iffy, you got to steer the ship. So if you thought this show was chaos, you've got to tune in tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. because John has
It'll be smooth. There'll be no arguments. I'll be in charge.
All right. Well, stay tuned for that. We'll be back, and keep subscribing to the show, youtube.com/Detour Podcast, and get on and vote for the Apex Customs AUS.com jersey competition. We've got the 3 finalists, Facebook at Detour Pod. So get on and vote for the kit, and we'll actually have the results tomorrow night, I think. It's up there for 24 hours. So we will tell you the winner, and then it won't be too long, Vaughan, before people can buy the kit as well, once it's all been signed off.
As soon as the winner is announced, about 12 hours later, we'll have it up and ready to rock and roll.
Well, there you go. You'll be able to put your orders in tomorrow night, because we will have a winner. So stay tuned for that. Thanks, guys. We'll see you again tomorrow. Or you won't see me, but you'll see John, and it will be chaos. See you then.
This is the winning